Sunday morning. I do this. Oops, hold on. Already off to a great start here. It's Sunday morning on the East Coast, 7:11 a.m. I am not a church guy. I don't have any kids, so my Sundays pretty. Sunday mornings are pretty wide open. I even get to watch all the London games when the NFL does the London games. It's an NFL Sunday, and we're doing the Strat 28 or S28 Draft Recap Show Part 2. You may recall on the first episode of Strat 28 Draft Recap Show, we did the first 19 selections of the first round, which got us from Baker Mayfield to Chris Carson to Butch Shamrock's Green Bay Packers. A little weird for me to do this show in two parts. That's not my modus operandi. We did 8.5 hours. We did 8.5 hours nonstop. For the Samifa draft recap show, which was tremendous. We had a lot of people on. We had Nathan Baylor on, the defending Strat 28 champ. Zeb Strong was also in Strat 28. We had him on for quite a long time. Dennis popped in and out. Dave Scott is not in this league, is a good guy. We had him on. It was really nice. We had a lot of feedback. We had guys sort of in the studio, or not on mic, but sending Slack questions and comments. Tim Bollier was there. Dan Morin, of course, was there. Dan's in this league. And that was great. That really went great. Very interactive thing. Same thing we did with the Samifa card watching party. When the game was first available for download, we did that with Samifa. And I think next year I'll extend that invitation to you guys, the Strat 28 guys. I'm paranoid about this StreamYard system here. It says live. I added myself to the stream, which I almost forgot to do. But this is my third or fourth time using this, and I just don't feel 100% comfortable with the technology yet. With the layout, knowing that I've done everything, not the technology, but the process, knowing that I've taken care of everything properly, and that I am indeed talking in a way that's going to produce a video at the end. So these things are more like podcasts than they are videos, really. But there's names here and some colors. And I would encourage anyone sending out, like if you're sending out like roster files, add a little color, and don't add horrible colors. Add soft pastel friendly colors, like you're on like you're painting a hospital ward. This is basically what you want. And they do that. I spent more than my share of time in the hospital, and they're laid out with the soft pastel colors, supposed to be mentally soothing. So if you're upset about Sam Darnold having mono like I am, like Joe Daly is, me more so because I'm a Jet fan, the soft colors will soothe. See, Joe feels soothed right now because there's a soft yellow next to Sam instead of a harsh red. But a rough couple of weeks for my Strat team. I've been accused, rightly so, of talking too much about my own teams and my own players when I do these types of shows. But boy, I gotta tell you, Andrew Luck was the guy for both of my fall teams that I fly solo. Strat 28 on the GM with Dennis. We co-run the team, but he plays all the games. And it is a different attachment for me. It's a level removed. I think when you this is my first time doing this in football, being a GM and not playing the games. And the football games are football games are so intense. Well, the trap football games are they're maybe intense is the wrong word, but there is certainly a level of concentration and focus. And I think you're pretty into it. You're pretty focused on the game while you're playing. There's a lot of emotions back and forth in it. There's up and down because you're calling every play. And look, the game's telling you you're right or you're wrong, right? You know that you're making a good call. You know after the fact that making good calls or making bad calls, right? Um, so there's a lot invested there, and I think if I'm when I'm not coaching, not like this team here that I GM for Dennis, or with Dennis, not coaching the games, I think you have a little more of a remove from the players to some extent. I would say. Um, I do really like our roster a lot. I like where it is. Um, Also, I think I like the Todd Gurley situation only because Dennis told me that everyone said it was. But Dennis didn't want to do it. It's a famous story. He wanted to veto the Gurley selection in the inaugural draft, and then after the fact, they're like, "Oh, everyone says you're crazy for just taking Gurley in the fourth round of the inaugural." And so for him to work out great, even for only 2 years possibly, although he played well in Week 1 for the Rams. This is on the Sunday morning before Week 2 of the 2019 NFL season. Some good games today. I'll try not to get into that. Got some good feedback from Jay Villing, who's not in this league, but some of you know him. He's a great coach. He's in the upper 1% as the current terminology goes. Um, but he what was I saying? What was I Jay's name for? Boy, it is early in the morning. I just suddenly blanked out totally on why I brought up. Oh yeah, because he told me I had asked for some feedback on the shows a couple of years ago, and Jay gave me some excellent feedback, including that I tend to stray off topic. As I stray off topic in talking about Jay, telling me not to stray off topic. Um, so I won't look at today's NFL games. I'll try to stay focused on what is my task here, Tom. I'm supposed to be reviewing the draft for these guys, not talking about Zach Line. Um, Dennis says he was overpriced in the trade. He's probably right about that. But I wanted the give your running guys right a little bit down near the goal line, get the block and fives, get the bump to the six in the full house. You can catch a short pass. So those are some pretty decent trades for a fullback in your full house formation down near the goal line. I want to turn those field goals into touchdowns. I don't want field goals. I want touchdowns. Now, I mean, I'll try field goals if I have to, but I want to be down there and have to settle for the field goals. I try to give my teams every chance to, personnel wise, try to give my teams a good chance if it's a competitive team. And our team is certainly very competitive this year. We should be one of the favorites again. We haven't won anything yet, but we should be one of the favorites. But try to give them every chance to get into the end zone when you have a competitive team and having a fullback who can do more than stand there and be nothing. You didn't have to run guess right. I mean, you like that, but at least be a blocking five so you get bumped up to a six, and at least be able to catch a short pass. And if you can run it all guess right, that's a huge plus as well. Gives the defense one fewer guy that they can eliminate when they run King on third and goal for the one. So, and hopefully your quarterback's decent. So the short pass is still an option, which we certainly have with Drew Brees. Whenever I have an old, like a quarterback this old, like Drew Brees, 39, 40 years old. I've never played with a guy for 15 years who ended up that old, like Paul Mankiewicz, who's in this league, has done with Drew Brees. And to me, for Paul Mankiewicz, drafted Drew Brees in like the inaugural draft in like 2003. 2003 card set, I believe, was the first year for me for maybe 2002. I think 2003. I have to look it up again. And anyway, so whenever that first draft, whatever that first card set was, Paul drafted Drew Brees there, and he's had him ever since. He's his quarterback. That's pretty awesome. He won a few championships early on, of course. First decade of Drew Brees. Paul had him and LaDainian Tomlinson. That's a nice way to get going with your franchise, right? Back in the day, if you had those guys for their whole career, and Paul's, of course, a great coach. But yeah, for me, like when I end up with like these old coaches, these old quarterbacks, I don't know, the team just feels different, It's It's like I don't have that guy that I chose as a youngster, or I made some big trade for when he was 25 because a guy had two or three quarterbacks. So I think the quarterback, believe it or not, I don't. I never would have thought of this because I never realized this until probably a few years ago. But yeah, when I have a veteran team that like I didn't really build 100% and this and that, like that Samsung team that I had put two off seasons into that team, but yeah, I inherited that team with Big Ben Roethlisberger already as the quarterback, and it's like, Big Ben. I mean, he's really good. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, but he was already like, this is like 5 years ago, so he was already like, whatever, 30, 31 years old or whatever, and he had been around quite a while. We already knew how good he was, so it's not like I really had invested anything in him. He was just given to me, so. And so this team, like, I like the rest of the roster, a lot. I like that we traded for Hopkins. I like a lot of these players I drafted. I'm proud of the offensive line. I drafted all these guys. It's like I take more pleasure in like, is Rashawn Evans going to become really good? Than I do like, oh, we have Drew Brees. Who's 40 years old. So I'm weird that way. I know. But that's there was a great thread in Samifa a couple of years back, maybe 18 months back. We were talking about how everyone enjoys the game. I was about to blow up a team. And, different guys enjoying their strat different ways. Some guys love the game itself, like Dennis loves playing the game. And so if he has a team that can be pretty good and he's a great coach, he's trying to amp that team up with trades and have a really, really good season. And in his case, that can offer me the championship or a Super Bowl berth. Other guys like I love the general managing aspect of it. And I like the long-term general managing aspect of it. Other guys like the GM aspect of putting together a team for the year. Tim Bollier talked about that. So there's a lot of different ways that people enjoy the game. I enjoy the long-term GM thing. So it's why Dennis and I had some difficulty early on in our partnership, but we seem to be doing okay now. But anyway, I guess that's enough about that. Let's resume the draft. So last time we did the top 19 picks. And it's weird for me, as I started saying about 20 minutes ago when the show started. As I get paranoid, I'm going to check out again. Yeah, this is all good. Okay. I did send out this live, but I guess it's 7:20 on a Sunday morning. Most guys aren't standing by for a Slack update looking to join live. Because you'll get this... you'll get the video at the end of this, which I'll send out. I'll share out. Michael Reeves, this is interesting because using StreamYard, I don't know if it shows up automatically as a YouTube video, like while I'm doing it, like live. I think it might, because I feel like Michael Reeves was texting me during one of these. Michael picks up the broadcasts live when they're live through his YouTube subscription and listens to them. Michael's a great guy. I think Michael's a church-going guy. I think he's involved with the choir and stuff. So he's probably pretty busy on a Sunday morning. He's having his breakfast and getting ready for those activities. I don't know. But, okay. But, anyway, so I don't know if this thing gets picked up that way. Or if you'd have to be getting it through the email, the Slack notification, which I posted over there. So it's weird for me to be doing a show in two parts. Because like my flow is like interrupted. Like here I'm in episode. I'm in pick number 20. So I sort of dive into Josh Allen. It's hard for me to like mentally get there, right? So I'll run down the top 19 names, if nothing, that should get me in the mood, as they say. But you had, look at this. I asked for both windows to be open. I got one window open. That's a failure. It's a 50% success rate. I got two windows. So can you open the windows? She opens one window. She can't hear this, of course. I would say it anyway. In my good-natured, that's my wife I'm referring to, Vanessa. But yeah, the lovely and talented Vanessa. But I would say it in numerous ways, so she would know that I was fine. So yeah, we had some issues at times. Let's turn it to a talk show. Dr. Phil. All right, going down those top 19 guys. Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, Darius Leonard, Derwin James, Kerryon Johnson was the first running back taken. Philip Lindsay as a bit of a surprise by the mighty Dan Thorauer. Bradley Chubb, Denzel Ward, Quentin, I didn't pronounce his name right, Denzel Ward, Quentin Nelson, Leighton Vander Esch. That's right, Oakland. I remember doing a nice job there with the carry-on luggage, and then Leighton Vander Esch. That's Aaron Onderdonk, Battle Royale champion, at my expense. J.J. Watt, Mike Rossi. That's why it's good to go through the names. Remember what's going on in this league. It's been a week. I did part one a week ago on a Sunday morning. Mike Reeves taking Andrew Luck's final card, which is a good card, and I'm going for the year. Saying, you know what, I got a pretty good team here. I'm going to add more to it. I'll go for the year. Let's ride Andrew off into the sunset, and then I'll blow it up next year or rebuild next year. No, I know he won't. I'm sure he'll be trading for the oldest possible quarterback next year / cheapest, so we could have a decent season. Maybe he'll be looking for Gardner Minshew. I think is that the guy's name? He's the quarterback, Jacksonville's backup. That played really well in week one, which they lost badly, but he played really well. Coming in relief for Nick Foles. Probably some popgun stuff in the stats, but the stats are pretty good. As the game was unfolding, I think the defense was getting shredded. They're playing a good team, I think. Oh, the Chiefs, yeah. They're playing the Chiefs at home. Is it Gardner Minshew? Am I pronouncing this like guys like Minshew? I knew I was wrong. There's an N in there. Gardner Minshew, 22, 25, 88%, Michael. 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. 6 yards. So he could be the guy next year. I shouldn't have said that now. Now it's, I have no idea whether or not Gardner Minshew is a good player. I haven't seen him. I've fun with the name. I'm not endorsing him as a player. Mike, I'm not telling you to here. I'm just having some fun with the fact that Michael's going to need a quarterback next year. I'm not having fun with that. It's my teams too. I had Andrew Luck on both middle teams. What the making is that Michael is going in all out for the year. He picked up J.J. Watt after trading down and picking up Adrian Peterson. And he's going to ride Luck, and he's got a legitimate Super Bowl contender in that conference with that team. I was looking at it. And there will be a season preview show for this league. Dennis has been busy, not only with his family and work obligations, but also getting all of his strat leagues or going and drafting in a million leagues and stuff like that. So I think he did a supplemental here a couple of nights ago. I know he did, as a matter of fact. So I think that you'll see. I mean, Dennis, he does. He does a lot. He does a lot. Every now and then, he won't do anything in the league for about a week because he has to catch up on some other things. But then, bang, he condenses a whole bunch of work into a very short period of time. So you'll probably be seeing requests for coaching files and a league file and stuff. I would guess within the next 48 hours. I think he sent something out. He may have sent something out already, and maybe I didn't read it because I don't have to worry about the coaching files and stuff because he does it. I don't remember. So anyway, but I tell you what, as a GM, who would you want as your coach besides Dennis, right? If I was hiring a strat coach, I would hire Dennis. I try to keep the contract. I try to get the cost down with a negotiation. I don't want to spend too much money there, but But he would be the guy. He would be the strat coach I would hire. I think we'd probably all feel the same way. Anyway, so Michael going for the year. Then Jair Alexander, Roquan Smith, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's been a popular selection in all the leagues. Going a little higher, I think, than his card warrants. But I really like Nick Chubb. So the safeties all go in various places here. They all went 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, 18. Jesse Bates, Malik Hooker, Justin Reed was your order here. I think the most common order has been Malik Hooker, then Jesse Bates, then Justin Reed. And then Chris Carson, number 19, was the third, fourth running back taken. You had Kerryon Johnson. Philip Lindsay went much higher this league than other leagues. Nick Chubb and Chris Carson was the fourth running back taken. We did the autumn wind draft part 2 yesterday. Their draft is broken up into 2 parts. You have the first 5 rounds we do, I think, about a week before the NFL season starts. I'm going to say 8 days before the first Sunday of NFL action. And then we do the second part the day before the second Sunday. So you're getting your first 5 rounds before the NFL season starts at all. And then you're getting your second 5 rounds with like basically one game in the books and a Thursday night game. Yeah, it is live on my YouTube channel. And let me find these Claude Turcotte draft report team. I might bring this up just to show the differences or whatever. This is on my mind. Dennis did a draft recap show for Autumn Wind yesterday. Got to work on that, Dennis. It's only 2 hours. I mean, if you're not going 7.5 hours, I mean, where's the commitment? Teasing, of course, but that was good. It was good. He did it. Those guys are the guys who run Autumn Wind. The California-based guys who had been playing face-to-face for a long time, for decades before Strat became computerized. They had a league out there at that time. And then they created Autumn Wind, the Strat League, which has been around about 15 years or so. And they'll get together. I think they were at Rick Byron's house, if I understand correctly. I got to confirm that with Dennis. Rick's a great coach. You may know him from Autumn Wind or Summer Sprint. Summer Sprint, Dennis's summer single-season retro draft league where you draft units, right? Like you could draft, the Raiders' offensive line or the Cowboys' defensive line, and it's like a 10 or 11 round draft, and you put together a team that way. And that's a great league. Summer Sprint is a great league. And you play the whole season within like 2 months in the summer, right? June and July, basically. And that is a great league. The coaching is strong. A lot of games in a short period of time. The rule set is the old-fashioned rule set, but it works with the old seasons. And I give that league pretty much full treatment. We had a really enjoyable season this past summer. It's only September now. Technically, it's still summer, but I guess it's an early summer sprint. But the drafting, the Slack talking, draft recap show. Guys are watching games during the year. I think I did a season preview show and in that league when we play games, guys will post in the general of the Slack the game ID, and if you like just around and see it or whatever, you can jump in and watch a little Strat for 20 minutes or whatever, float your boat, and that's something I'd like to see in all the leagues. It's pretty cool. I could be eating and like watching TV and all the screen time, right? I'm sure it's doing wonders for my eyesight and my brain. And maybe put the put a little Strat game on. We'll watch a little. And I'm using the older players back then. You could be Walter Payton or Earl Campbell or Billy Sims or whoever you got. And we've done mostly 70s and 80s. Wouldn't mind turning back the clock a little further, or maybe doing like a little pre-1978 action. Although IFL is just done that era, so maybe an era that's not going to get as much love right now, maybe the 60s, which we all played a lot when those games first came out. Some good sets there. 1965 is a great set with a lot of offense, and on the NFL side, Gale Sayers, Rudy Bukic even has a good card for the Bears, quarterback. This is what Jay would accuse me of getting off topic as I'm here talking about totally things completely not related. the Strat 28 draft recap, part 2. All right, so let's get back on course here. The Cincinnati Bengals drafted Josh Allen. And the Bengals coach in this league is, I'm a little rusty right here, got to get back into it. Of course, our very own Dave Gabbard. This is an interesting spot. I remember, now this draft took place a while ago. That's one of the problems I have for me, that causes me difficulty with the multi-day drafts. It just feels very difficult to do a draft recap show when you know, even if I do it when the draft's over, you know, I'm doing a week and a half, it's 10 rounds, right? So a week and a half after the draft starts, and then I'm doing a show. The things aren't fresh in your mind, and stuff like that. I thought about doing like a little 20-minute thing after each round and releasing it at the end, but unless I could edit it all together, and I don't know how to do that, I'm not really interested in taking the time to learn how to do that. Unless I'm doing that, it's weird. 20-minute sound bites. And so that might not make sense after the first round. It makes more sense when I see what the guy is doing in the second round. So, but who knows? Maybe I'll try that next year. If I'm still active in doing these things, hopefully I will be. I do have some occupational things going on, so we'll see. Maybe return to the workforce. I have a serious disability. I'm a quadriplegic, but I'm looking into possibly returning to the workforce. We'll see what happens. Certainly, it'll be hurting my Strat League and these extracurricular things and stuff like that, but real life does beckon. So I'll certainly still be playing. I hope so. I expect to be anyway. So yeah, Dave took Josh Allen here. I remember Dennis and I were trying to trade up. We were at number 24. We wanted Daron Payne because we've got a good team. We have a massive hole at future nose tackle. I think Payne's a real solid player, very good player. So we're trying to trade up with Dave, but Dave had said he had turned down a number 3 from someone else. I'm going for 24 to 20 for nose tackle. I need to, and I have got this asset management system with 4-year cycles and stuff like that. And if anything, we needed to be adding assets, not yielding them. So I was like, I'm not going to compete with a guy who turned down a 3 to move 4 spots. So Dave Stidham took Josh Allen, which is interesting to me. We talked about the quarterbacks, and now we're talking after the first week of the NFL season. I mean, everyone liked Mayfield, and pretty much everyone liked Darnold. Dan Moore had some questions, but pretty much liked him. And then the big drop-off, and then, question marks, right, for Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And, of course, even more question marks for Josh Rosen. I should probably bring up my draft rankings. I forgot about that. So rusty. I'm going to guess it's these. That's right. In this thing, I probably put a little like that. And did I do them? This looks like it's right. Kylie fits. Well, yeah, these are my unofficial rankings because multi-day draft, 15 minutes per time on the clock. I don't. There's plenty of time for me to look at things. I didn't need. Well, this might be the better file, the better tab. Put the guy in green as the main guy in each, the number one guy in each group. Yeah, there might not be in a strict order here because I know that I'm gonna be looking at it, right? I know that Tom, I'm looking at this list. It's not a list that I sent into someone. So if the guys are off by 1 or 2, it's like I'm looking at the group of guys and I know who are like better than who, But so we're talking after Lamar Jackson had a great opening week against the expansion Miami Dolphins. They pretty much are an expansion team. But Josh Allen, very interesting. He threw a couple of picks against the Jets and didn't look that great at times. Looked pretty good at other times. Still maybe a little too much of a gunslinger mentality. His accuracy was better than last year. That's the big knock on him. He's an interesting guy. I was scouting the top college quarterbacks going into the 2018 NFL draft a little bit because the Jets were going to be in the market for a quarterback, and they ended up trading up to number 3 and drafting Sam Darnold. But I mean, it was hard. It's hard not. It was hard not to be impressed and somewhat enamored with Josh Allen. I mean, a big, strong guy. He got a rocket arm. Now we know he runs great as well. But the big knock, of course, I mean, his college completion percentage was low. Now, in college, he was under duress all the time. Like you watch his college highlights, and he's just under pressure all the time. And a lot of the best quarterbacks have come from colleges in the last, over the last 15 years, have come from colleges that weren't Alabama, that weren't Ohio State, that weren't sort of perennially competing for the national championship. And some, Aaron Rodgers from Cal and Big Ben from Miami of Ohio, Drew Brees from Purdue, guys from the schools that were a little lower down in the pecking order, and they didn't have this tremendous supporting cast in college. So the theory is, if you're on a worse college team as a quarterback, and that's how you play for those 3 years or whatever, you don't have as much time to throw the ball. Your receivers aren't wide open. Look at the running backs like for Alabama. I mean, these guys have huge holes like every play. It seems like, but anyway, for the quarterbacks, they're under pressure more often. They've got to get rid of the ball quicker. They've got to make faster decisions. They've got to throw it into tighter windows because they don't have, all Americas all over the place at wide receiver. And so that helps your development as a quarterback because you're getting closer to experiencing what you're going to experience in the NFL. All right, and in the NFL, I don't care who you are in the NFL, even the Patriots, of course, the talent disparity is not going to be for the Patriots against, even the Bengals, let's say, as it will be for Alabama against against some team, even in their conference, who's in the bottom half of the conference. But in general, so I like the idea. I like that idea. It's a theory, and again, if you look at the quarterbacks, a lot of them, Philip Rivers, North Carolina State, name schools, Division I schools, but not, but not the schools that are up there competing for the national championship every year. Or some of those schools, if they are, sometimes it's because of the quarterback. Like when Andrew Luck was at Stanford, they were very highly ranked while he was there, but a lot of that was because of Andrew Luck, right? So that's different, I would say. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out with, let's say, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, who came from an Oklahoma program that was certainly up near the top of the league, near the top of college football. Well, those guys were there. I'm not a big college football fan. I really don't watch it at all, to be honest. But this is just something observing with a lot of the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, North Carolina State, and then Wisconsin, So now it's interesting, of course, is two of the most highly regarded quarterbacks coming out of college. The next couple of years will be Tua, whatever the hell his last name is, from Alabama, and is it Trevor Lawrence, Dexter Lawrence, what's the guy's name? From Clemson, the quarterback. And those guys are coming from programs that are winning national championships every year. So, I don't believe in absolutes in anything. So I wouldn't say, the quarterbacks from those schools can't be good NFL quarterbacks. That's stupid. Any the right player will can succeed or fail in any situation. If he's bad enough, he'll fail. If he's good enough, he'll succeed. Just about. I shouldn't say in any situation, but basically, right? There's always the extremes, But there's always David Carr with the Houston Texans. He had no chance. Okay, but in general, you get a better chance than that. Much more reasonable chance than that. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that theory. of the quarterbacks from the schools that are not perennial top 6, 7, 8 programs that or perennially thought of as national powers that can compete for the college championship, to make it more specific. So yeah, so Josh Allen certainly fits that profile, being from Wyoming. Was under a lot of duress, didn't have the greatest weapons. I know it's not the greatest conference, but his highlights were impressive. And he had an interesting rookie year. I think the Cam Newton comparisons are pretty apt, though. Big, strong guy, can run, likes to run, likes to throw the ball down the field. He's got a strong arm for that, but the accuracy, not where you want it to be in the modern NFL, right? I mean, the league completed like 64.5 or something last year. See, like a month ago, I had those numbers. A month ago, I had those numbers like down pat. But I'm doing this in September 15th. I mean, the closer, like once the NFL season starts, kind of like my Strat draft stuff just shuts down. I was talking about this with Michael Reeves the other day. I don't have any interest really in drafting. Like once the game starts, it's like, to me the challenge is figuring everything out before the game starts. Once the game starts, like anybody can look at some PFF grades and see who's starting and who's playing well once the game starts. I mean, there's no art to that. It's really just not to be disparaging, but I feel like any idiot could do that. Whereas it takes a special kind of idiot to try to figure these things out ahead of time. So like once the game starts, like I could care less. People so be like, oh, one and one day 2 is great because they have the NFL season starts. I'm like, I don't like that. I don't want it to be after the NFL season starts. When everyone can look and see this guy played well, this guy didn't play well, this guy's starting, this guy's not starting. To do all that before the games start, it's a massive endeavor, but it's like a systematic analysis. You're trying to understand each team's, like, you understand like the whole NFL system, team by team. And I like that better than just let me click, see the numbers, draft, click, So, yeah. Like that has something, I don't think they drafted it. It's like next week. They got like 2 weeks of NFL games. Like, come on. No one should even ask my opinion in that league. I mean, come on. Why do you need my opinion? You have NFL games. The guy's in his second year. It's been 2 weeks in. It should be pretty easy to make you should make a pretty decent decision then. So, anyway. So, Josh Allen here to Dave. Now, Dave's quarterback, Dave's got a pretty good team. I remember giving him kudos when I did the mock draft. He's got a nice, solid all-around team. I think he's from that Zeb Strong, Jay Villing kind of steady as she goes type deal. He's got Carson Wentz. So he's taken Josh Allen. Now, you might have some injury concern on Josh Allen. Sorry, on Carson Wentz. You might have some injury concern. He's ended the last 2 years injured. Although seems to be fine now. But also, if I know Dave, I bet this is a speculation pick. It's a 28-team league. It's a 20th pick in the draft. I got a pretty good team for the year anyway, so I'm not sure that any of these other guys are going to make a big difference for the year. Let me take a starting NFL quarterback who's young, and I bet I could trade him to somebody for something better in the future. Now, I think Jody is coaching Indianapolis, and I think they're friends. And Jody probably needs a franchise quarterback, so maybe Dave already has his target lined up there. Jody's got Jacoby Brissett, so we'll see what he does this year. But yeah, I think that was probably a speculation pick by Dave. Look, Josh Allen will show enough that in this league is so big that I'll be able to trade him for something at some point. So that's worth it for me at number 20, which I could see doing that because, like I said, he's got a solid team. So interesting choice there. We weren't sure who would go first, Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I probably would have gone for, I don't know. That would have been a tough call for me. I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it because we weren't going to be taking either one of those guys. We're riding Breeze off, and I'm building up my overall assets so that when the moment is right, hopefully sometime the next year or two, we'll make a big move for a good young quarterback who we like a lot to succeed Drew Brees. But for now, we're trying to ride Breeze and Gurley and maximize that and hopefully win a championship with our outstanding head coach, Dennis Crowley. So I think I had no problem that Josh Allen picked a 20. It's a decent spot to get him. A lot of this is where you get the guy, right? And Josh Allen's been going like, 15 to 22, 16 to 22 in the leagues that I'm aware of, and that seems about right, right? Once you get past, let's say in this draft, once you get past Leighton Vander Esch, or certainly Jair Alexander, let's exclude J.J. Watt because he just happened to be in this draft pool, but normally he's not in the draft pools, right? Once you get past like that top 12, I couldn't fault somebody for taking a quarterback, because these top 12 guys are pretty solid. Oh, Philip Lindsay, but maybe top 11 guys. You need a quarterback. Josh Allen is there. All right, what the hell? And in this league, 28-team league, your quarterback doesn't have to be as good, right? Because there's more teams. The defenses will be weaker. The top teams shouldn't be as strong as they are in a Somifa league, for example, where there are only 24 teams. So maybe a Cam Newton guy could be successful in a large league like this if you build up the rest of your team. Now, I know nobody really wants that, though. Everyone wants, Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers. They want that quality. Matt Ryan now has really come on in the last few years to elevate his status. So I think Allen's going where he should go, and this is what happened here. And I think he's a lot of fun to watch. I don't know what the stats are going to be like. I don't know what the completion percentage is going to be like. And I posted about this in the forum in the locker room. There's a NFL thread for NFL fans. Go to the Strat Fan forum, go to the locker room, and we all post about the NFL stuff during the season. And it's pretty good discourse. It's not trash talking internet nonsense. It's more like real football fans and adult mature guys, the type of guys who play Strat. Talking football. So you get to pick up some good stuff there. That's in the locker room section of the Strat Fan forum. Even if you're just going to lurk, as they call it, just read and not post. It's a pretty decent place to be. But as I was watching there, that Cam Newton, I enjoy watching Cam Newton play. He's an entertaining player. I like watching those draws on 3rd and 4, quarterback draw. But again, Cam hasn't been the best Strat player. He's not even been a good Strat player. So Josh Allen, who knows if he gets kind of like that. But you could put their league this size. If you had Cam for his career in a 28-team league, you could probably compete. The problem becomes if you really want to win championships, and this is not a double counting league, so everyone's average. If you have a real good team, but you only have like a Cam Newton as your quarterback, like you get like the semifinals. Now the other guy got a really good team, but he's got Tom Brady, or Matt Ryan, right, or Aaron Rodgers when he was better. So it's like I got by with Cam Newton and I went 11-5 or 12-4, and I'm here, but now the other guy's team is just as good as I am, but he's got a much better quarterback. So that to me, theoretically, like anyone can win a championship at any time with any player. We've seen championships online the last few years, as I keep repeating, with Jake Locker, with Michael at his rookie card, and with Brian Hoyer. Okay? So, in leagues with 24 to 30 teams. So anyone could win with any quarterback. But I'm just saying, obviously you want to put yourself in position, if you're trying to win championships, to give yourself a good opportunity. And if you're going into it saying, I'm going to try to win a championship knowing I have a deficit at the quarterback position compared to my rivals, well, obviously it's going to be harder for you, right? I mean, it's harder to win with Cam Newton's card than it would be with Drew Brees' card. I mean, that's just common sense, right? So, but thankfully for Dave, he's got Carson Wentz, who's pretty damn good. And he just needs Josh Allen to be at least pretty good. And look, he could be insurance for him, or he could be trade bait. So it's not, and he's fun to watch. So that'll be not a bad pick there at all. Again, he's already got a good team for the year. I'm not sure he needed much else for the year. So why not? 21, Deron Payne, Chuck breaking our hearts. Chuck Parrott, who did a tremendous job. I mentioned last time I cannot give this guy enough credit for doing the wonderful tabs here, which we'll get to when we go to the team-by-team action. Thank you again, Chuck. This is such a help. You have no idea. The way he did it was just beautiful. But he did a nose tackle. We were trying to trade ahead of him because he did a nose tackle, and the name of his team is the Washington Redskins. I'm like, there's a pretty good chance this guy might be drafting Daron Payne. Plus, it's already time to draft him. It's 21. Come on. It's a great spot to get him. But we couldn't get ahead of him, and Chuck wasn't really interested in listening to our overtures to move from 24 up to 21. So he stayed home, and he got Daron Payne. I don't know if he originally traded down from here, because you got this is mixed pick was number 21. Then Washington was at number 12. So is there? It's like a weird three-way deal here where it's like Tampa Bay was at number 8, but they moved down to number 12 with Detroit. So I think there was a Detroit-Washington trade-up, which I can now look at, Chuck. Thanks to your wonderful file, even though I didn't save this thing probably. Let me get that over there. That must be what happened, is that Chuck must have traded up. Okay, here you go. Okay, Chuck received Jordan Hicks and the Detroit 1. That was number 21. Okay. You got Jordan Hicks, the very fine middle linebacker, formerly of the Eagles, now I want to say Arizona. But he got as a free agent. But he got Jordan Hicks and the number 21. He gave up like the number 12, a 3, and a 6. So that's an interesting trade. I like that trade from Chuck's standpoint. And that was Mick moving on. And Mick actually traded a lot for and picked up a lot of picks this year, so maybe he didn't mind. Well, in this case, so maybe he wanted to move up for someone particular. And then Mick ended up moving up further to number 8. So Mick climbed from 21 to 12 to 8 and drafted Bradley Chubb. It's a very good player. Interesting, again, 28-team league. The pass blocking won't be as good. Everything will be more spread out. As a dominant pass rusher, much more effective. Dan Moore wants to know. He wishes he had Bradley Chubb. But, really, it's interesting when you think of it this way. Like Autumn Wind, I've been playing Autumn Wind for a while, 5-6 years. It's a 30-team league, but they have double counting and no dump off. It's a foreign environment, really. It's a bizarre environment for a minor strat league. It's kind of like Bizarro World in Superman or whatever. So like in that league, pass rush doesn't really matter. The pass rush is always helpful, but if it's double counting, you'd much double counting. First of all, there's no dump off and double counting. Being good against the pass is way more important than having a good pass rush. Way more important. Plus, they do play the white die 6, so you still got to defend the flats, so you can blitz as willy-nilly as you can when there's even no white die 6. Like in the old IFL rules, Tim Bowyer's league that Jay Villing plays in and Dennis plays in. So I'm just curious in this league. So that league, even though it's 30 teams, it doesn't seem to apply because the double counting means you want the good defensive cards, especially against the pass. But this league is all average. So I have a theory that the dominant card will be more dominant in this league than in any other leagues. Particularly the dominant quarterback, but maybe the dominant pass rusher, and maybe even like having a 6 at corner. Which seems like a weird thing to say because that 1-6 at corner, you can kind of leave him alone. You can put him on an island. You can give him Revis Island and double team with your free safety or flood the flats with your free safety and play a much better defense. you know, and fewer guys are going to have that 6. So it just might stick out more. Just some things I've been thinking about. And then we'll see if they bear out. And I think it's harder for me to pick up some of these things now playing the games. I try to watch some of Dennis's games. Maybe try to do more of that this year, but there's certain things that come out. So now I like the Deron Payne pick a lot. Good job by Chuck there. I mean, you drop down from number 12 to number 21, and you get Jordan Hicks. You give him a 3, sure, but you get Deron Payne. That's pretty nice. So you traded 12 and a 3 for Deron Payne and Jordan Hicks. An instant triangle of your defense there. So nice job there by Chuck. And that hurt Dennis and I a lot. And we started looking to trade back. In Kansas City, I believe he is the DVD, Dale Van Deven. In this league, yes he is. Dan Moore is Miami in this league, yes he is. And Dale drafted Lamar Jackson. Dale needed the quarterback for the year. After beating us, upsetting us in the playoffs last year. 10-6, 9-7. He's won a playoff game each season. I did mention Dave Gabbert's record 4-12 and 11-5 last year. First round playoff defeat. And Dale, so look, I need a quarterback. It's number 22, Lamar Jackson. He's interesting, Lamar. You know, we were talking about him in the Submit for Draft recap show. Oh yes, he had a great week 1 against Miami. I wouldn't read too much into that one way or the other. Anybody can have a great game. So let's see what happens going forward. The next 6 or 7 weeks. I really am a guy. I don't mean to sound like Mr. Cynical and Mr. Negative and Mr. Hard to please. Well, the last part I don't mind being hard to please because I think most people are just too easy to please nowadays. But it's a 16-game season. It's not a long season, but it's a 16-game season. And after 4 or 5 weeks, it's a little early. After 4 or 5 or 6 weeks to start, crowning players, this and that. I remember I drafted Devonta Freeman, I think, in the 5th round of a Semifa draft when he was a rookie, and he was off to the second year. He was off to a tremendous start. Like first 4 or 5 games, he's doing great. And I mean, Dennis was messaging me, and he's like, "Oh boy, Freeman's." I'm like, let's relax a little bit. It's five games. So he's doing this. Look at this. He's got the rushing out. It's 5 games. He has a few bad games late in the season. His rushing average will get dragged down in a hurry, and that's what happened. He ended up with maybe just roughly around 1,000 yards and like a 4.6 average. Fine, solid rookie year, but he wasn't 1,600 yards and a 5.5 average like it was looking like it might be after 5 games that year. So, for me, let's just wait. You gotta wait. I'm sorry. You don't have a time machine, do you? You gotta wait. So, Lamar is interesting. I like certain things about Lamar, but I kept saying, sometimes you watch these highlights, it's easy to start to like players, but I kept saying, yeah, but the college completion percentage and the way that they felt like they had to run their NFL offense. Say you want about Josh Rosen, who I didn't like last year. I told Dennis that. Say what you want about him. You're going to run your regular NFL offense when Josh Rosen's in the game, right? You don't have to create a whole new offense and turn the clock back 50 years. To use Lamar Jackson, which the Ravens did last year, but maybe not this year. Who knows? I'm still curious to see what they're going to do there. But I do think that he's going to show enough to have a job for a while. I like the running quarterbacks. I used to use Michael Vick. I won a championship with him in SSFA. Even this Lamar card this year is, as you guys know, some of you know, I lost Andrew Luck in both Autumn Wind and Samifa because he retired. And in Samifa, before I got into a position to draft Sam Darnold, I was even thinking, you know what, maybe I'll draft Lamar Jackson in the 2nd round and I'll build up the rest of my team really good and try to use Lamar Jackson. I do think he's going to have a career where he'll be a starter for a while. Baltimore certainly seems invested in him. So it's interesting. And look, again, you have no quarterback, which I know Dale didn't. And it's number 22 overall. Why not? So I think this is a little earlier than Lamar went in most leagues. Of course, if he has a good game today, if he has a good game today for Baltimore, he's going to go much higher in that league that Dennis has with a draft next week. And then you get 2 games in for Lamar. So we'll see. We'll see. And very fast player, of course. Interesting how they ran the offense. This he has a lot of good intangibles and stuff like that. Smart guy, hardworking, good leader, well prepared, that type of stuff. I think particularly the leadership and the preparation and stuff like that were things that I heard about him that were good. It's been well documented. It's hard to improve your accuracy from the NFL, from college to the NFL, and even once you're in the NFL. Those are the challenges for guys like him and Josh Allen, who don't have the track record of accurate passing. And PFF was concerned about a lot of Lamar's throws as a rookie. Because, completing a high percentage of passes, if you could be a young quarterback, how do I explain this? Accuracy is what? Accuracy is throwing the ball, is making the ball end up where you want it to be, right? That's accuracy, right? I'm trying to throw it through the swinging, what is it? The swinging tire from the rope in the backyard, right? That's accuracy when you can do that, okay? But you can do that and still not have a good completion percentage if you're a young quarterback. Maybe Sam Darnold last year. Sam's not particularly inaccurate, but he didn't have a good completion percentage last year because the first part is part of it, right? Putting the ball where you want it to be, making the ball physically go where you want it to be. The problem is when you're a young quarterback and you're not recognizing the defenses yet and you're underestimating the speed of the defenders and stuff like that, maybe you're throwing the ball where you shouldn't. You're making a bad decision. The ball is going where you want it to go, but you should not have chosen to make it try to go there, if you know what I mean. So I think your average fan thinks of inaccuracy as, I'm trying to throw a pass to my receiver and the pass goes 10 feet over his head. Well, yes, that is very inaccurate, okay? But there are some young quarterbacks where the ball goes where they want it to go, but they should not be trying to make it go there because the guy's actually not open. The defense is goading them, whatever, okay? But they're missing something. They're confused by the defensive alignment. So, but with Lamar and Josh Allen, I think it is more of the first, right? It's they're young quarterbacks also, so they have the second problem like any young quarterback has. But it's more the first thing of what they're like they're trying to make the ball go from A to B, and it's not ending up at B, right? It's it's hitting the dirt or going a few yards awry, or they're overthrowing or whatever it is, right? So that's the part. That is the part that's very difficult to correct. The other part can be difficult also. If you're a guy like Mark Sanchez was really never, I don't think, horribly inaccurate in terms of bouncing the ball in the dirt or whatever. I think he just made I just think he just consistently made bad decisions, and never seemed to really be able to overcome that. Like even later in his career, if you watched him with the Eagles when he came in for a few games, he could throw the ball around a little bit, but then he'd make some bad decisions, then he'd throw some picks. But it wasn't like he was really throwing letting the ball sail over a guy's head and that was the pick. It was like it seemed like he was throwing it right at the defender. It's like you shouldn't have thrown it. What are you doing? Obviously, he wasn't throwing it right at the defender, but because when the quarterback releases the play, the guy's moving. We watch the TV, we see the final result, and we say, he threw it right at the guy. But he didn't really throw it right at the guy. So one of my assistants enters the room quietly, surreptitiously, with previous instructions. I'm going to interrupt my show for one moment. Open that window too, please. If you've been listening since the beginning of the show, now you know that I have a second window open. I had a certain breakfast request But it might be changing. I'm going to mute my microphone. Jody Bowers is on. Hey, Jody. I don't have you on voice yet, but I'm going to mute my mic for 30 seconds, gentlemen. Hold on a moment. I'll be right back. Hold on, Val. Val, hold on. Hey, guys, I'm back. I'm going to add Jody to the stream. You're on the stream now, Jody. Do you have a mic or no? Okay, he's just listening. No problem. I'll remove you from the stream. Nothing wrong with listening. You can always mute your mic as well. If anyone has any questions or feedback, by all means, send me a Slack message is the way to do that. Because I get those messages right away and they pop up, and then I don't have to try and click around and read stuff. Slack messages, that's the way to go. So talking about quarterbacks, accuracy, whatever. It's a tough thing to do, but they make it easier than ever nowadays. But it's still a tough thing to do. So I'm very curious to see what Lamar will do this year after that week one. I wasn't as curious before that, but I'm curious for that. So I'd like to see him do well. I mean, that's a great organization, and for them to draft a guy late first round that some people wanted to make into a wide receiver in the NFL, and to see if he could become a successful quarterback. He had a successful rookie year, that's for sure. Maybe not with the stats the Strat coaches want to see, but that team I think was 6-1 or so with him as a starter, made the playoffs. So, and he doesn't mind throwing the ball down the field either. So I like that. So we'll see what happens. I think at San Francisco, that's Lawrence Green, one of the best GMs around now with the drafting. Drafted Mike McGlinchey, very solid right tackle. It doesn't have to be a sexy pick. It's great when you can draft Bradley Chubb and he's going to get 20 sacks, and you're like, yes. But you're drafting 23rd overall. I got a solid offensive tackle. There's nothing wrong with that. You build your team with solid players. I feel like, look, really, my feeling to build your team long term, solve your quarterback situation, get a good young quarterback, and then just take your time building up the rest of your team with solid players. They don't have to be home runs. Just clean signal into left. You have a team full of five. Look at it. If you had a superstar quarterback, or not even a superstar, if you had a good franchise quarterback and solid players everywhere else, that would be a very good team. And you could punch in your running backs year by year sometimes. Hopefully you get a multi-year running back, but it's hard to get running backs to have consistency in the NFL nowadays. But McGlinchey's fine. He's more of a road grader. I don't know why. I don't see him as a future left tackle. Like Ryan Ramczyk, they say, can probably play the left side if Teron Armstead and the Saints ever part ways or whatever. Lane Johnson was a guy when he came into the league. They said might eventually become a left tackle. They still might eventually become a left tackle. Or they just drafted that kid, Dilliard. Are very good things about him. But Lane Johnson could have done that, probably. I think Joe Staley is on the left side, but he was on the right side for a few years, I think, early in his career, wasn't he? I don't recall. But I don't get that vibe from McGlinchey. I get that he's definitely a right tackle. Jack Conklin, I heard the same thing about, but he's very solid also. So that's a solid pick for Lawrence, who does a real good job. Then we traded out of 24. I think the players we were looking at were probably Will Hernandez, Mark Andrews, Jonathan Allen. But in my asset management assessment, our Seattle franchise needs some more talent overall on the whole roster. I'm going to mute my mic one more moment, guys. Just bear with me. I'm back. That was a quick one. Yeah, we needed more assets. So, and to me, this is one of the problems I have with that draft chart. I don't know how many of you guys use that NFL draft chart or familiar with it, where each pick has got a certain value. I mean, it depends a lot on who's there. To me in this draft, and there was just not a heck of a lot of difference between 25 through 40. There was just a bunch of guys in there. There was just a bunch of guys in there who were all good. I mean, and eye of the beholder type of thing. Um, I'm a big DJ Moore fan, and he went 37. I mean, I hit him as like the 20th best player on my board. Now this team didn't need him, and I really was like, despite my asset management, I was kind of hoping not to have to take him because we have needs elsewhere. But the point is that put my right foot over more. If you're establishing tiers with your team, tiers with the draft, I should say, that you can find some ranges where it makes sense to trade down and some ranges where it doesn't. I mean, to me, I'm all about the individual players. I've got to know. This group of players is all fairly similar in quality. This group of players is a step up. This group of players is a step down. Um, and those are the decisions that guide my moves up and down the board when I move up and down the board, which you can do a lot of in this multi-day format, which is a great thing about this format. The ability to take your time, move up and down the board in the first 3 rounds to see all these picks that were traded is something that I think is really excellent in this format that we use in Strat 28 and that Dennis uses in SFFDL. So we traded down with Dan, I think, and picked up his 3 again. Kudos to Chuck. And I can just click here right now. Click Seattle. I got a page for each team. List their draft in order. List the round they were taken. List the draft in order. List the round they were taken over here. List the NFL pick right here. I got to send this to Dennis and put it on the website. It's tremendous. And of course, what they are in Strat. And that's all the trades from the off season. So this was a draft day deal where we gave up number 26 and our 8 to drop down to number 37, and we picked up a 3 next year. So that worked out well. And then we were able to move up. We were able to trade DJ Humphries for a 3 and a 6. And then we were able to move up in the 3rd round in the Clayton Fitzgerald deal. But we dropped down, so no pick for us in the 1st round. But Miami Dan was there. He traded up to get Sony Michel. I think he said he needed some good running back carries for the year. Sony Michel's a good player. I like Sony Michel as a hard-nosed, tough runner, no-nonsense type of guy. You could see where he fits in the Bill Belichick mindset, what they call the culture up in New England. It does have some injury problems. Injured a knee, I think, in college, and then I think at the end of last year. And it was bothering him a little bit in camp, but it's fine now. But look, anytime you're talking about knee problems to football players, it's a problem. And especially a running back, right? But really any position. You don't want your 320-pound lineman having a big knee problem. So I'm the type of guy, I'm always, not that I won't take a guy with any red flags, not that I won't take a guy with any concerns, but all those things go into the equation. I'm looking for the safest pick possible. It's like Deron Payne didn't have any of those issues. No injury problems for him. You know what I'm saying? He's a very, very safe player. That's what I want. I want the safe player. I know I talk a lot about the players, and I guess I get really into the draft. So even though I don't like the term, I guess people do think of me as something of a draft guru for the Strat drafts, not for the NFL. But I'm not looking to be the Wizard of Oz over here. I'm not looking to, oh wow, what an amazing pick. I'm not looking to pick some guy that nobody ever heard of in the 1st round that everyone goes, oh wow, what a great move at top. No, I want the opposite. I want a safe, solid player. We took Joel Bitonio in the late 1st round last year. He's not exciting, but he's a good, solid player. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Get a good young quarterback and draft solid players. And it's easier said than done. And I put a ton of work into this, and I can make mistakes too. I drafted Artie Burns in the late 1st round a couple years ago. He's a bust right now. But my track record is pretty good. But now I want to pat myself on the back. I don't like the sound of that. Every time I start saying that, I'm like, oh, that sounds horrible. Shut up. But that's what I do. I want to take safe, solid players who are good. If I can get a guy who's great, even better. I'd be happy to have Derwin James if he was healthy. Or he wasn't. Oh, all right, here, Quentin Nelson. Oh, LV, I love LV. Oh, I would love to have LV on one of my teams. Love it. Yes, give me LVE. Please. or Quentin Nelson. Please, save solid players, no red flags. Those are like those two guys are the type of guys that yes, they're like a template for blue chips, the real first round type of guys you really want. Um, so I don't have a problem with Sony Michelle there. And I said this last show. I listened to the end of the last show a little bit to get ready for this one. It's probably true that 2018 league, the running backs were going to go higher. They're just going to go higher. Because more guys are going to need running backs. And I mentioned this during the Samifa draft recap, and Mick thought it was true. I've wondered at times if there's a lot of depth at a position in the draft, like there was a lot of good running backs right at the top of this draft. Does that mean there are going to be a lot of teams in our league that need running backs? So here's what I mean by this, right? You got 6 running backs, let's say, in this draft that were going to go in the top 40 or whatever, right? Most of them with good cards or ran for a fair number of yards in the NFL. So like their NFL teams, they don't have other backs who were really good or were already on rosters, right? Sony Michelle got the best New England rushing card. Nick Chubb with Cleveland, Chris Carson with Seattle. So those teams, those stock teams, were not having good rushing cards that were already on. Excuse me. They're already on a roster in our league. So if there's a lot of talent in the draft at one position, particularly with the good guards for the year, are there necessarily going to be a lot of teams in the league that need those positions? And I say in a very large league, absolutely. In this league, we're going to win 20 to 30 teams, absolutely. And probably to a lesser extent, but even in Samifa, and a lot of the running backs did go. In Samifa, and look, guys like drafting running back too. It's important in Strat. This is not the NFL where you're going to just, I'm going to get a UFA in the 5th round. I'm going to get a UFA or some 4th or 5th round guy, and I'll be fine. Strat is not Strat. You need the card. It's just not that way. So you need a guy who's getting NFL production and some kind of card for you. And again, every position though you can get by a little less because of the size of the league, but also the strength. I would say in the quarterback or running card goes even further. So so I like Michelle a lot as a player. Only thing I have is some injury concerns. I don't like that guess right card a whole lot this year. Although Dan's got Derek Carr, he can throw a lot of flat passes, get some wrong calls that way. Dan doesn't mind running the type of offense, and also Sony playing with New England. They still pass first. I don't care what people are saying about the postseason last year, but Belichick's so flexible, and with Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator. So, we'll see. I mean, Sony's very good. I just hope he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he's a very solid player. So that's really my only concern. And, also, it doesn't catch all any passes. Like 8 catches last year, but I don't think that'll stay. I mean, it's pretty easy to get 25 catches or so as a running back nowadays. Then the Giants, it has to be Jersey Joe Golden. He's a Giants in pretty much every league. Jersey Joe is a Giants, of course, and he got on the Gus bus with Gus Edwards, who was the Carvio Love. I do think this is pretty much a 1-year pick. I think Gus can stick around for a while as a short yardage NFL back, but I don't think he's going to be much more than that long term. But you're getting this card here with the vaunted 7.9 short gain on right. It's going to be tough to stop. Look at all tackle wrong it's like a card from 1975, the off tackle wrong. So this will be interesting and fun to use and very effective. And Joe usually has a good roster, so presumably he's got a pretty good team. His quarterback might be Alex Smith. Oh, it might be Jared Goff in this league. There you go. He's got Jared Goff and Alvin Kamara. See, this is interesting. And Aaron Jones. Oh, he traded Gus. Okay, that's what happened here. Okay. Joe's got Jared Goff, Alvin Kamara, and Aaron Jones. So he didn't need the Gus Bus card this year. So he had traded this pick to Aaron, but the trade was announced incorrectly and was therefore invalid. So those guys had to rework the trade and get it going right. And they did, and it ended up with Joe had traded down 3 spots for Kansas City. That was Lawrence. Lawrence got his second round pick next year to move up from 25 to 22. Oh no, that was Dale. Lawrence is Kansas City, a different league. Lawrence is San Francisco's league. That was with Dale Van Deven, the DVD. Dale gave up his 2 next year to move up from 25 to 22 to take Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't have done that. I'd have taken my chances that he'd have been there. You got to look at who's there ahead of you at the time. And San Francisco, it's Lawrence with Jimmy Garoppolo. The Giants already had Jared Goff. Maybe thought that we had Drew Brees. We could take Lamar Jackson. Yeah, we weren't taking Lamar Jackson. DVD, sorry. We weren't taking Lamar Jackson at 20. Not with this particular club. I know every club is different, but we weren't taking him. So he could probably have stayed at 25, got Lamar Jackson, and kept his second round pick next year, which is second round picks are very important picks. So Joe took Gus to trade him because if the deal worked out, I want to say it's with Aaron. And again, I cannot give Chuck enough credit for these wonderful tabs I have here. So Joe ended up trading that 1, which was like number 25, for Aaron's 2, which is a high 2, and picked up a 3 next year. It's a little more palatable when you're moving up to go up a 3, move up about 8 spots instead of a 2 to move up 3 spots. And also where you're moving up. It's not from like 4 to 1 to get a quarterback. It's from 25 to 22, but that was Aaron on dunk. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Dunk, 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 dunk. I'm sorry, Aaron. I hope you don't get upset. I like that thing. That sequence of sounds. He went from 31 to 25, gave up the 3. So good move by Joe moving back because the talent was similar, really. Joe didn't need the running back. So what you saw here was the guys were trading up in this range. Guys are trading up for the second round or late first round to make sure he gets a franchise quarterback, hopefully, with Lamar Jackson, what Dale did in his view. That was worth it. And to get those running back cards for the year and or for the future. Dan's hoping both. I think Aaron is accepting that Gus might be a one-year guy. But Aaron does a very good job building his overall roster. And sometimes when you do that, you can afford to give up stuff to improve for the year. And Aaron likes to field a good team, and why not? He won the Battle Royale Championship this year. And Joe ended up with that 31 spot. We took Minka Fitzpatrick, who was a guy that we were considering around here. So, great minds think alike. Then in Indianapolis, that's Jody, who's listening. Hello, Jody. I saw him on the... Oh, he left. I chased him away. He's not listening. Okay. But Jody took Tremaine Edmonds. Jody was moving up and down the board, willing and dealing all kinds of picks, all kinds of places. I don't know how much he moved up in the first round, if he did or not, but throughout the whole draft, he was looking to trade down. And he got from number 5 all the way down to 26 and give it up a 2 next year. So that's usually not the return you're expecting. When you move down there. But Tremaine Edmonds is an interesting guy. He's like 6'5", 256, runs extremely well. Supposed to be like a hyper athlete, but his instincts for linebacker need to be honed. He's very young. He was like 20 at the time of the draft. He's 1998. This kid was born. 21 now. But they say he's coming on a little bit late in the year. And, if you can improve his recognition of what the offense is doing and diagnosing the plays better, the sky's the limit for him. So he's a bit of a boomer bust guy. Reminds me of when I took Ryan Shazier in the late first round. And so Mifa, he was like a great athlete, great speed, a bit of a boomer bust guy. And it took Ryan a year or two to get going. And then he was doing real well. Had like one really good year. And everyone's like, oh, okay, this guy's going to be excellent in a linebacker. And then, of course, he had the horrible injury, career-ending injury with the neck injury the following season, including partial paralysis. Now he's walking and stuff. I'm not sure exactly how well, but he's walking and stuff. So, um, which is good to see, of course. So yeah, Edmonds has a massive upside. So let's just see if he gets there. Sometimes the guys get there, sometimes they don't. But this is certainly the right spot to get a guy like that in the late first round. 26. I think he's been going a little higher than that in most leagues. 27 Denver is that Kurt Retzlaff, I want to say. It is Kurt Retzlaff, who I know a little bit from SFA and other leagues and things like that. Drafts Will Hernandez, the Giants guard, 4-7. Rock solid pick. The guy was a high second round pick. Was viewed as a probably a late first round pick in the NFL, but for whatever reason he didn't go there. Then just, man's left guard for the Giants all year, gets a 4-7 from Strat. Giants have dramatically improved their offensive line. And he's, like I talked about safe players before, he's about as safe as it gets. So, good pick there by Kurt. And then the LA Rams. LA Rams are going to have to do for you Jim Morrison fans out there. Forgive me for butchering his work. I love Mark Andrews, tight end for the Ravens. I know he's only a third round pick. I know you're leery about taking a receiving target in Lamar Jackson offense. We didn't know what that was going to look like at the time. Again, this is a couple of weeks ago. But Andrews, he was like he has a lot of Travis Kelce qualities. Can't block to save his life though. So Kelce is actually a good blocker when he wants to, or when they use him that way. But this guy he's that big burly guy, just rampaging through the open field in the secondary with more elusiveness and athleticism than you'd think. And he did it in college, and I saw him do it in the NFL. When I watched the video highlights, I didn't watch college. I was like, "Whoa, this guy looks really good." Then you turn the NFL highlights on, and they're the same. I'm not seeing a drop off. I'm not seeing guys suddenly like sometimes you watch a college guy looks pretty good. You watch NFL highlights, like, okay, this guy's he's not getting the separation. The difference in competition. His athletic ability is not able to overcome that. But Mark Andrews, he made it look easy in the NFL also. I'm a huge Mark Andrews fan. And I was so happy to trade up and get him in Somifa. And, I have a thing for tight ends. There's certain positions where I think maybe I fall in love with the players too easily. And I think like tight ends, like back up, like lower, not even lower level, like mid-level tight ends, I can always find like, oh, this guy's not bad. And it's not that hard for a tight end to like get 40 catches and 11-yard average and get a decent strat card and be your number 2 tight end. So I think I have a thing for tight ends and like mid-level running backs, like the Justin Jacksons of the world. 4th or 5th round running back, Wendell Smallwood. Like you watch the guy's house, like, oh, this guy's not bad. This guy can play. I'm not saying I'm going to draft a guy like that in the second round, but it's like you keep him on the radar and hopefully you get him at the right spot and maybe he becomes a decent back. Corey Clement is that type of player, right? But this is not this. Also, the smaller, faster linebackers, Nick Kwiatkowski syndrome. Dennis could joke about that now, perhaps. I think they fall in love with those guys too. But again, we're talking about guys that you're not drafting in the first couple of rounds. You're drafting them later on in the draft, and then hoping that they come through because you like what you saw. But Andrews, I really like him a lot. So, and no surprise, Nathan, defending champion, was a good team this year. Nathan loves explosive offensive players. He wants long gains on the card. He wants big yardage on the card. And he's got it here with Mark Andrews. Both for the year and I think for the future. He had a big opening week for the Ravens, like 8 catches for like 138 yards or something like that. He was only in the field for 32 plays. He had 8 catches. I mean, that's a pretty good ratio. He is 3rd on the team in tight end snaps. There's, he does have some concerns. Number 1, he can't block. Or doesn't want to. He's a converted wide receiver. Even though he's a big guy, like 6'5", 256. What kind of wide receiver was he? I guess he was back down. He was probably 200 pounds. And then number 2, they drafted Hayden Hurst in the first round in the very same draft as Mark Andrews. Hurst was injured almost all of last year. And number 3, you're in the Lamar Jackson offense. Who knows what that's going to look like when it's all said and done as far as completions going around. But, tight end doesn't have to get a ton of completions to get a good card, as we know. If he has a good average, Andrews off to a good start this year. So I really, really like him a lot. and he's a guy I would have been fine taking for our team, Dennis. Um, but we needed help elsewhere, and Jonathan Allen I think was a better fit for our team, who we ended up with the second round. So that's the end of the first round, and I'm gonna try and do some team recaps now. Maybe a lot of them at breakfast will be ready soon. I hope I'll do all of them, but we'll see. Let's I'll try and do a little lightning style like Dennis would do. Okay, so at least you get some draft recap. We'll see what I do next year. I'm trying to find a way through this multi-day format. Like the other leagues I made, it's a 1 day draft. Bang, like I'm on the air within 2 hours. So me for draft ends at 3:30. Whatever, you're getting a show by dinner time. By 6:30, the show starts and then we go until 2 in the morning. So that's what you get there. Let's go team by team here. Lightning round, Arizona. It's the Mighty Dan Thor hour. Didn't have a second round pick, it looks like. Had an extra 4. Again, Chuck, tremendous job with this. Dan gets Philip Lindsay, Trey Flowers, Tracy Walker, Oren Burks, Jordan Whitehead, Shaq Griffin, Bradley Bozeman, Matthew Adams, Dontrell Hilliard, and Anthony Auclair. The Chocolate Auclair. I actually think he's a white guy, but the chocolate eclair, the pastry, that's the joke I'm making. It's an excellent pastry, by the way. So Lindsay, number 7 overall, he's got a real good card for the year, so hopefully Dan's got a good team to take advantage of that. Lindsay looks pretty decent with the naked eye. I have enough concerns that I would have drafted him number 7 overall. If I got him number 20, I'd still be like, I don't know, We'll see what he does. He's very small, and he got hurt at the end of last year, so that's a concern already. I don't know why he can catch what passes. You would think he's a type of back you'd expect to catch, a good number of balls pretty easily, so maybe that'll come into his game this year. We'll see how he does. I'm gonna actually take a 90-second break, and then I'll continue, guys. I'll be back momentarily. Apparently, I have to wait for my omelet to cool down, so I can talk about Philip Lindsay some more. I got to make this a fast show because I had some things to do today. But Lindsay. I wouldn't be surprised if Lindsay's good. I'm on the fence. I'm giving you really not a great opinion here, one way or the other, right? You want to hear, hey Tom, is the guy good or bad? So Lindsay, I don't know. I mean, he looks pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if he was good. But we've seen so many running backs come in and have a good year, then do nothing. So I would have approached him with a lot of caution. Certainly no way I would have made him the second running back in the draft. Did he take him over Kerryon Johnson? No, Kerryon Johnson went after Barkley. Running backs went higher in this league, but I like Nick Chubb a lot. And maybe Nick Chubb, there's a chance he might be perpetually chunky. Because I watch his college highlights, I saw a lot of long runs. So you don't want a guy who's chunky, but I still would have taken my chances with Chubb. But no, I wouldn't have taken Lindsay there. You got Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, Leighton Vander Esch. I know you need a running back. Maybe trade down or something. Chris Carson went 19. That's more palatable to me. Lindsay has a real nice card, though, and Dan's coming on as a coach. And maybe he's got a decent team. And if he does, then it's a fine pick. If he doesn't have a good team, I don't know who his quarterback is. So we'll find out when we do the season preview. And I know a second round pick, which hurts, but especially in a larger league, because that talent in the late third round is starting to thin out already to some degree. Even in Samifa, guys in Samifa just drafting outstanding this year, and by the middle of the third round, this is a deep draft class, but by the middle of the third round, some of the talent was thinning out. Even though it was a deep class, but at the same time, the guys really wanted Sometimes you get a guy you really like in the third round, and this was harder to do that in the semi draft this year. Trey Flowers in the third round. I don't like Trey Flowers at all. I know he's tall and I know he's starting, but he's very wooden. He's very slow to get going, which is not a good trait in a cornerback, especially in the modern NFL with all the quick hitting passes. He's got good top speed and good height, so he's not going to get beat down the field too often. But like the guy makes one cut inside, and Flowers is flailing. So he's got to. I don't know how you do that. But he's got to work on his flexibility or whatever the quick twitch muscle thing is. He doesn't seem to have it that highly, so I don't like him much. Tracy Walker is pretty solid, fourth round pick. I like him, pretty good player. Warren Burks got some pass coverage ability. The Tampa Bay Jordan Whitehead is the better of the two Whiteheads. I'm not a big fan of his, but he played okay week one. Bradley Bozeman is starting for the Ravens at left guard. Matthew Adams is starting for the Colts, so I actually think that Dan did better with those type of picks than he did with his first couple of picks. So it's hard. Lindsey at 7 was too early. I don't like Flowers in the third round, but after that, Walker, Burks, Bozeman, Adams, some good picks in there. So a bit of a mixed bag for Dan Thorauer's Arizona Cardinals. The Atlanta Falcons. Oh, he put the names here too. Bingo. Chuck was a tremendous job. I cannot go on. I cannot tell you how much easier this makes doing a show than having Chuck's tabs. But the Atlanta Falcons with Jason Owen likes to trade a lot of picks away. We have the trades here as well. Well, this is a trade. Oh, yeah. He traded the key to leave and got a 2, so good for him. Okay. Took Frank Ragnow in the second round. Starting center for Detroit, first round NFL pick. Had some quotes in the offseason that made me feel like he was dealing with a confidence issue, but I don't know. Maybe Zeb was right. Zeb Strong saying, well, maybe the guy's just a little more forthright than most players. Maybe a lot of players have these confidence issues when they're young and not established, but Frank was maybe just a little more open about it. Good for you, Frank, being all touchy-feely. And then, of course, the great Bilal Nichols in the late second round. If you don't know the story by now, I don't think I have time for it because I'm trying to get through this and eat something and continue the show and do other things. I should probably stop now and do a part 3. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to stop the show now. You got the rest of the first round in. I'm sorry for chopping this up. Again, the multi-day format just has me unsure of what to do. And I've had some personal issues lately, and I'm trying to squeeze all this stuff in with Strat. I had my own draft yesterday that had to be in, and it's a football Sunday. So I'm going to stop the show right now, and when I do part 3, it'll be probably a couple of nights from now, and I'll go through all the teams for a couple of hours. So forgive me, but I think this is probably the best move right now. We talked some Strat. It wasn't bad. And I'll do a part 3. We got through the rest of the first round and just talked a bunch of stuff. And I'll probably even revisit Arizona. All right, guys. I'll make it a short show here, but I'll do another one in a couple of nights, and you'll have the trilogy will be complete. Bye-bye.